So I've been using the Apple iPad Pro for a while now, and I wanted to go ahead and give you my video review. And this device is, I'm going to go ahead and start with it. There's really no way to get around it. The device is huge. It's very big, it's very heavy, and I'm not a small person, and this gets heavy after holding it for a while. It weighs in at 1.5 pounds pretty much, 6.9 millimeters in thickness, so it's pretty thin. And that helps with the weight and carrying it for a little bit. But after a while, I definitely recommend that you put it on some kind of stand or use the Logitech keyboard or the Apple keyboard or whatever your choice is. Something to get it to where you can tilt it up and watch your movies. Other than that, though, I don't know how I feel about it replacing a laptop, but we shall see later on with extended use. But let's talk about what's right here in front of me, which is this 12.9-inch display. This display is gorgeous, to say the least. It has great viewing angles, and I've been doing a lot of things on it, shopping as you can see here. It's on Amazon buying a few things. I just bought a wireless camera for the outside of the house. Nonetheless, I always keep two things open here, and the multitasking is, the split view is nice on this bigger display. You can have basically two iPads next to each other, pretty much is what they're saying. But this is pretty nice. I can't say that I don't like this setup, and I've been using the split screen like this for some time after having it, and it's very convenient. But the screen itself, watching videos and things like that, you do have the option to play a video. I'm going to mute the sound here because I don't want to have any copywriting issues, but you can pop it out, and then I can go back and then go back to my browser, and the split view will go here. And if you want to make this bigger, you just kind of pinch to zoom, and now I have the video playing down here. I can move it up here, over here, over here. So that's a good thing. You can keep, I only keep it over here because Twitter's not, the feed comes from the top, so that's pretty convenient. And then I can have my web browser on this side, and I think that's pretty nice. But the quality of the video and the screen is going to be good on such a large display. You really can't get around that. For watching media content, and the 4 speakers that surround this display are gorgeous, and they sound amazing. Those 4 speakers right there, 2 on that side and 2 on that side, I have grown to love them. I gotta tell you, this speakers on here, you don't need any kind of Bluetooth headphones or anything if you're gonna watch media. Unless if you're in an area, obviously, you're gonna need to cover up if you're on a plane or something. But if you're around the house or in your office or wherever you're doing, you don't have to try to blast this tablet or this hybrid, I should say, because it actually does very well. Speakers are just gorgeous on here. Now, something that I think is out of place is these buttons. The button configuration stays the same as every other iPad, which I don't understand that. For such a large device, they still have I have the LTE model, so my SIM tray is over here, but the volume rocker and power and mic, everything is still in the same corner. And I think that's kind of weird. I don't think they thought it through very much, or they just decided, this is our test run, so we'll see how it goes. But I think that is kind of silly to have the buttons placed so high. It's weird almost. Another thing is 3D touch, or force to touch, is missing. This is their latest technology, so why wouldn't they have it on their latest product? I don't know what to say about that. This runs iOS 9 right out of the box, and it won't disappoint. I haven't had any hiccups or anything. I see I'm running 9.1. I haven't had any hiccups or anything with this device. Nothing out of the ordinary. Some people actually have a problem with it when you're charging it. You can't use it or something like that, and you have to reboot it after you get done with the full charge. Well, I didn't have that problem. Mine started right up. I used it while I was charging. Everything's good with mine in particular. But I think that once Apple starts to push, they know about this bug that's out there. So once they start to push things along, they'll see that this is just a software issue. So they can just push a software update out and we'll be good to go. Every kind of connectivity that you want on here: Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, LTE in certain models, GPS, NFC, for Apple Pay, and things like that are all on board. Doesn't have 4.1, but that can be pushed over in an update, from what I understand as well. It comes with 4.2, so that's not really, 4.1, so that's not really an issue. Some of the applications don't, like, a lot of applications aren't ready for the iPad Pro yet. And then a lot of applications, or some applications on here, are not formatted for this big screen right here. So it's kind of weird viewing it. Like if I open up Twitter alone, it's just wasted real estate. So then I turn it like this, and it still feels like wasted real estate. But I know with updates, developers will start to take care of that issue. Now, let's jump over to something that is important to a lot of people. And this full review is kind of just touching on the things that I know people probably might look at before they're getting ready to buy such a big device or invest in such a product. But price. The pricing on this, the Wi-Fi model 32 gig is $799. The 128 gig Wi-Fi is $949. And the 128 LTE model is $1079. So 32 gigs Wi-Fi, $799, 128 gig Wi-Fi, $949, LTE 128 gig, $1079. Those are some pretty steep prices for such a device that really doesn't offer much if you don't, in my opinion, have the attached keyboard. Now, I don't have it in this video, but I do have the Logitech keyboard. It's downstairs, but the Logitech keyboard or the Apple keyboard, you need to get a keyboard with this, and I suggest that you get the Logitech keyboard over the Apple keyboard. I'll get into that in just a second. But my pricing on this device will go a little something like this: 32 gig Wi-Fi, $699; 64 gig Wi-Fi, $799; 128 gig Wi-Fi, $899; and then LTE models in all of those configurations for an additional $120. That's my take on it. So if you buy this device, I don't suggest that you not get the keyboard. For my full review and several other things I've been working on, I've actually been using this instead of a laptop, and it works just fine. But the difference is I'm using the Logitech keyboard, and the Logitech keyboard has a backlit keyboard. The keys feel like an actual MacBook keyboard, if you know what some MacBooks feel like. It feels like one of the MacBook keyboards. The Apple keyboard that you can buy costs more, doesn't have a backlit keyboard, and feels mushy to the touch, kind of like the new MacBook, the new MacBook, the 12-inch, those keys. So why Apple chose to price it so high and it's not as functional as the Logitech keyboard? The Logitech keyboard is a full case as well and has a nice texture. Now the Logitech keyboard will add some weight to it, but I think you'll appreciate this product a lot more with that keyboard. The Apple Pencil, to those that wanted to pick up the Apple Pencil, if you just want to buy everything that Apple advertised that day, knock yourself out. I personally will not be purchasing the Apple Pencil because I'm not an artist and I don't see myself doodling much. You can still open up the Notes application and draw on the screen and make little things, or just doodle if you need to. But I definitely recommend you get the Logitech Pro, the Logitech Create keyboard for the iPad Pro over the Apple keyboard. So that's my final review on this. Would I recommend this? I would recommend this to a person who really is not a power user, who's looking for a media device that can double as a somewhat laptop in some functionality. This cannot replace your laptop in my experience, but it can get you through a complete weekend probably, or some people a full week on a single charge, because there's a 10,307 milliamp hour battery in here, and it can take care of things in a lot of cases a lot better than a lot of laptops. Plus, you can unsnap it from the keyboard and play some games if you want to. Now, gaming on here is going to be a challenge. It is a huge device, and it's pretty heavy to handle for a short period of time. Again, I'm a big guy, and this thing is hard to handle after maybe 30 minutes for me. It's too heavy, and it's too bogged down. So I have smaller iPads for that. But the gaming experience on here is nice. Not all the games work that I have. Like all these games in here, the NBA jams, it just crashes. And some other ones they just close out. I'm gonna say crash, but they just close out. They don't allow you to play for some reason. Now that's a bug, obviously, but some things can be fixed in a software update when the developers start to notice these things or they get reported. But I wouldn't recommend you go out and buy this over a MacBook Pro right now, because a MacBook Pro is actually only $899 during the holiday season at Best Buy, and it's a 500 gig hard drive. and it's a full computer. So why would you spend $1,079 plus taxes, which is almost $1,200 for me on the two that we purchased? You know, wanted to try it out and give it a shot. I really like it. So I don't want to carry a laptop, and I can play a lot more games and do a lot more things with this than a laptop can do. But overall, this cannot replace your laptop. So if you're going to be doing documents and things like that and typing and presentations, this is great. But plug and play, there is none. I mean, you have to buy the adapters that come with Apple products, and it can get kind of pricey after a while. So just keep that in mind. The cameras on here, I didn't touch on them because, frankly, I don't understand why Apple put such weak cameras on here and didn't really even bother to upgrade them. But again, when you see things like this, you have to be mindful about jumping out there and doing an impulse buy immediately. If you're tight on a budget or you just want to try it. I mean, I know companies have return policies, but I don't plan on returning this at all. I've been waiting on it. I was not going to get it for some personal reasons about this company, but I decided, you know what? Some people on my channel might want to see this, and I knew people in my family would buy them. So I was like, I'll give me one too. But right now, I don't think this can replace a laptop, so to speak, but it can give you some fun things that a laptop can't do, which is a lot of the gamings and things like that. And the speakers on here are just fantastic. I just can't stress it enough. Power users probably would, you know, don't even bother getting this. You know, stick with your laptop. But basic users or intermediate users who don't want to buy a laptop, and there's options to paying for this too. If you don't want to pay the full cost, I suggest that you get the 128 gig at least, and if you can, go ahead and get the LTE model. But I would suggest that you, if you can't pay for it out like we did, finance it through either a carrier or use your credit card or something to make it a little bit more easier in your pocket. I would say that because T-Mobile is probably the best buying option for this product. And I do have the LTE model, and I do have it on T-Mobile, but purchasing them straight out cost us $1,162 or something each for two of these. There's a black one and there's a white one, and I'm using the black one for now. There's going to be a gold one as well in a little bit. But nonetheless, these are pricey. So pick your best buying option from what's within your budget, I'm going to tell you. But would I recommend it? Yeah, but not to power users. Stick with your laptops. Because this is definitely too big to just use as a tablet, and it doesn't have much functionality as a tablet. But when I slap on my keyboard, boom, I feel great, and I did a lot of typing. My full written review was typed right here on this tablet. I would open it, but I have some personal things in there, so I kind of don't want to expose things. But in my notes is where I typed the full review, and then I loaded it straight to the internet, did some editing, and that's it. So that is my full review on this device. I'll give you a once over. On the front here, they have the same old camera that they had before. You got your Touch ID. On the back, this is my antenna for LTE. This is that 8 megapixel camera. I'll take a picture here in a second. I guess I'll at least give you a sample of something just to demo it for you. But that's that 8 megapixel camera. Power buttons up top. Headphone jack is right here. 2 speakers here and 2 speakers here. And you got your lightning cable in the back there, and my SIM tray is right there. So let's get into this here. I'm going to show you what this camera can do. It's not a bad camera in light like this, like good lighting like I'm showing you here. It's not a bad camera, but in dark lighting areas, you might as well hang it up. You're not going to get any great pictures. So there's a couple of photos there. You can see cameras, you know, it'll get some things done, but don't look for any kind of special things to happen with this camera. So it's your man Jay Will. That is my full review of the Apple iPad Pro. So be sure to check out my written review also. And that's it, man. I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy holidays.